I wonder, are any of you fans of Bake Off? Oh, that's good. So am I. And just like they have a few shots away from the baking action, discussing the big questions of the evening, I guess that's what this is. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes talking about the question of hope, particularly our need for hope in the context of a world filled with so many condemning voices. Where is the hope in a world of condemning voices? Have you even noticed we are surrounded by a plethora of disapproving voices? Let me give you a couple of examples and see if you agree. Let's start with Bake Off. As I sit down to watch, I'm full of hope and anticipation as the bakers stir, whisk, and roll out whatever creation they're making and put it in the oven. What will it look like when it comes out of the oven, I wonder? Will mixing flavours such as lemon and pistachio really work? I wait. I feel their hopes. Maybe Star Baker will be theirs this week. Yet I don't know how Bake Off contestants do it. Week in, week out, they come up with extravagant ideas only to be judged. Don't misunderstand me, I do realise Bake Off is a competition, so it's not about the judging to find one winner that brings about the disapproving voices. Rather, it's the critique of a Simon Cowell-esque character who just loves to criticise the contestants as he walks around inspecting them at work. How much brandy did you put in? You decided not to put a layer around your ice cream cake, did you? Week after week, 3 creations at a time, awaiting the condemnation of Prue and Paul. This might sound trivial, but who here doesn't know the experience of a relative, of a boss, maybe even a friend whose prickly comments we live in fear of? It's a typical experience of ours, isn't it? Or let's take another example, the internet. Whilst this year the internet has enjoyed much praise, the reality is it's turned our existence upside down. It revolutionised communication long before coronavirus and the need to stay at home, to the extent that it is our preferred medium of communication. That means when we have an opinion, we share it on the internet, ranging from what tier should we be in? What trade deal should we have? How or who should we vote for in an election? The list is endless. And what starts as a healthy belief in freedom of speech suddenly opens the floodgates to condemnation. After all, how many of us, when wanting to post our opinion or response to a friend's post, double or triple check what we've typed out of fear of people, friends, that they will pounce and condemn us? Can you see? We really have become a society accustomed to hearing condemning voices around us. And as we start our Christmas preparations, I wonder if we leave the Christ out of Christmas because we think he is just another condemning voice coming for us. Maybe that's how you feel. As I watched the Bake Off final earlier this week, there was a comedy moment where thunder interrupted Prue's assessment of one of the bakers. Noel Fielding, one of the show's hosts, said, "It must be God expressing his anger at what Prue had said." Perhaps you agree with the sentiment, the idea that the God who's there is standing over us with his arms folded, tapping his foot. But what if the God who's really there isn't the disapproving, angry, arms folded God? When I first started to investigate the God really shown in the pages of the Bible, I was confronted with a very different reality. It was eye-opening to see the idea of a bad-tempered God hurling thunderbolts down on us was not a fair description of God at all. The volatile, raging image of God has actually been passed down to us from Greek myths about Zeus and is not what's contained in this book. After reading and asking many questions, I found the God of the Bible, the God revealed to us through the person of Jesus Christ, could not be more different from the temperamental, thundering God I had originally thought to fear. So how did I learn the real character of God? In part by doing what we're about to do, considering the person Jesus Christ and why God sent him to this world. You see, the God who's really there is not standing over us with his arms folded, tapping his foot. He is actually there with his arms stretched out, waiting for embrace. For a Christian, for the lady who invited you tonight, for myself, it is remarkable that Jesus essentially says God, his Father, did not send him to the world as a Paul Hollywood, a policeman, or a stern headmaster to condemn the world, but rather he was sent in love and hope that the world might be rescued through him. Let's see exactly what Jesus says. I'm just going to share a slide with you. Brilliant. So now we can all see it. For God did not send his Son to the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. I'm going to keep the slide up as we consider what Jesus has said. This is an audacious claim for Jesus to make, that he was sent by God. And what was the mission, the purpose that God gave him to do? Condemn the world? No. Jesus, God's Son, was sent into the world in love and hope. That the world, not part of the world, not one country or one continent or one people, but the whole world might be saved through him. I'll say it again. This is a bold claim for Jesus to make. Let me stop sharing now. There we go. Right. It's such a confident claim that 10 years ago, I had to find out more. And as I said, my mum was helping me as I was baking the cake. My mum raised me with the religion of her childhood, Hinduism. I grew up with an idea that I needed to please God, that he was keeping a track of my life with a clipboard, writing all my wrongdoings, which would be detailed, and the consequences of those in his sight was to be feared. The idea that he would ever stoop down to this world, not to wag his finger at me, but to sweep me into his embrace, to rescue me, was simply not within my understanding of God, until I was drawn to the person of Jesus Christ, who, as I said earlier, reveals the true nature of God. And what is that nature? It's not a judging Simon Cowell type of God. You did that, did you? It's not a traffic warden in the sky type of God, tapping their foot, arms folded. In fact, as Jesus died on the cross, his arms were not folded, his arms were open. His arms were nailed open to communicate to the world the depth and length of his love for us. Jesus reveals that he was sent by a God who so loves this world that all might be welcomed in, might be saved through him. So As you continue your Christmas preparations, and maybe you're already dreading the voice who will tell you your potatoes just aren't fluffy enough, and you think about this Christmas pudding event and the question that we've considered today, where is the hope in a world of condemning voices? I invite you this Christmas to investigate who Jesus is and why he came. There are a number of ways in which you can do that. Join us at a Christmas event. Ask the lady who invited you tonight, or in your packs, we included a little leaflet. I really encourage you to read this over Christmas. It will take less than 5 minutes, but it will tell you more about Jesus, who was sent by God so that the world might be saved and have hope through him. And I guess you're wondering, why is finding out about Jesus this Christmas important? It's because if he could be right, if it could be that without Jesus, we are unsaved, we are without real hope, surely his life, his claims are worth investigating. Thank you.